Hey everybody, it's Dave Cooper and we're at BCMC day number 2, and standing with me is Luke Wiesen, General Manager at Truss Craft Structural Components. Thanks for joining us today.
You bet, thank you for having me.
All right, so your first BCMC was in 2010. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your history of who you are and then why you decided to come to BCMC?
So I started a new wall panel plant in Grand Island, Nebraska for a company back in 2008. It took a couple of years to get that fully in motion, and I went to my first show out in Denver in 2010. It was kind of a little bit of a bleak show. Going through the downturn, a lot of people pulled back and weren't attending these things. My very first understanding of it was, wow, this is kind of underwhelming. And then it just kind of grew from there as I got farther into the industry.
Yeah, so what was it that kept you here? Like, what attracted you? What was the value that you were getting out of it?
So after going to the first show, I took kind of a little hiatus from it. I moved from a production management role that took me to the show into a sales role for the next 3 years. So as a salesperson, I was never really invited, I guess, or asked to attend until 2014. In 2013, I moved from Nebraska down to the Kansas City Metro and started another component plant down there with a company that asked me to relocate, and we started a full wall panel truss plant lumberyard in the southern side of Kansas City. In 2014, then I went to my first show again after kind of getting back into the world of BCMC.
So part of BCMC is the networking and the collaborations, what turned into some OQM meetings, right? Open quarterly meetings for you guys. What's the value for that for you and your team?
So I really didn't get involved into the OQMs until just recently. After leaving the Kansas City area, I moved back to Omaha and joined the company I'm with now, Truss Craft Mead Lumber. And in 2019, I was asked to take over Truss Craft Structural Components. So I relocated back out to Grand Island, Nebraska, kind of where I'd been in the past. And after doing that, I was invited to my first OQM with the group. And so I was just blown away when I got there. A big part of that for me is the networking side. I'm a connector. I love being around people, and most importantly, around people within our industry, people that have the same battles that I do, fight the same fights that I do. And just having that collaboration and those conversations with everybody it kind of drives me on a daily basis.
Yeah. And Luke, it's funny in this industry itself, people feel like they're on an island, and they don't have anybody to talk to. And that's one of the biggest benefits and values of some of these events is because you're not. And then you get together in a room and it's like, oh my goodness, they all have the same problem I have. Is that what you experience?
Yeah, and the OQM side, even into the BCMC side, those relationships go far beyond that. We as groups, I have so many friends I've met over the years that we connect way outside of the BCMC, the OQMs. It's almost whether it's on emails or phone calls or Slack, there's always that open communication side. Right. And honestly, I've utilized that in the past on, we all have our issues. We all have our capacity levels in production. I've utilized those relationships in the past to help get me out of pickles. When my production team couldn't keep up with things because unfortunately our sales team outsold some of the capacity levels, we could use those relationships to help keep our customers in motion and have other component manufacturer plants build for us. And it's friendly competition in those areas. We're not necessarily always in the same markets, but even when we are, I've got a company within the same market that we have a great relationship with, and we will build trusses for one another to help keep our customers in motion.
But it's a win-win for both of you. You're not losing the business and they're gaining some business, keeping their production line full when they're not as busy as you are.
Exactly.
I love it. So pig face. What is pig face? So you were saying this and you smiled. Like, so is that a thing? Pig face?
So pig face happened, something back in, so I moved to Kansas City to start a brand new truss and wall panel plant back in 2013. And if you've ever done anything like that, it's extremely stressful. It's a lot to take on your shoulders. And as I was going through it, I was a younger guy, and I carried a lot of that weight with me. And every day I'd walk into the office kind of stressed out and kind of worn down. And I actually sat, so 2014, I went back to my first BCMC show. I wish I remember the name of the course, but I don't. But it was all about your attitude as a leader and how you present that to the team. And I remember the paper handout they gave us had blank pig faces on it. And you were supposed to draw in your feelings of that day on that pig face, whether it was a frown or a smile or whatever. But the overall idea of that session was you as a leader drive your team on a daily basis. So however you come in the morning, you're going to set that mood throughout the entire day. And it really kind of struck home with me. It smacked me right in the face. And I look back and I realize, okay, I am the reason that my team is negative on a daily basis, because I walk in carrying that stress of make it or break it type mentality. And my team would follow that. So whether it was in sales or design or the manufacturing production floor, they would see that and kind of feed off of it. And I went home from the BCMC show that year with this new idea, this new inspiration, I guess you could say, of if I'm going to be that leader, I'm going to be that leader. Yeah. And it was hard. It was a training process for myself to really break that mold of myself, to regardless of how I felt, regardless of what my feelings were, I would have a smile on my face in the morning and I would be excited. It took several years, but now I think if you ask anybody on my team, it's almost annoying how energetic and exciting I am. Every morning when I walk into the office, I walk the whole office, say good morning to everybody, and I do it in the same, exciting manner. And I can tell the effects that has on a daily basis.
Basically what you're saying is you learned something about yourself that helped you change a company culture and how people feel when you walk the floor and come to work versus being the boss and carrying all the stress to, being a team member and the culture and kind of brought some fun to it.
You said a word, boss. I don't look at it that way. I look at it as a leader. And if you're going to be that leader, you have to have that excitement in you. That's right. Because otherwise they're all going to follow that negative side down too.
I believe it for sure. There you have it, everybody. Luke Wiesen, you want to learn something about company culture? Pig face. That's all you got to do right there. Yep. We're at BCMC Day 2. We're just getting started. Thanks for watching.